Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about a very practical topic, English for shopping, especially common mistakes people make when talking to store employees in English. And today we have a special guest who works in retail and often talks to international customers. Hi.
Hi Owen, hi everyone. My name is Sarah, and I currently work at a home goods store.
That sounds interesting. I guess you meet a lot of foreign customers every day, right?
Yeah, quite a lot actually. At first I was really nervous speaking English, but after talking to customers more often, I slowly got used to it.
I think many people imagine themselves shopping abroad but don't know what to say in English.
Exactly. And honestly, there are many simple sentences that people use in unnatural ways without realizing it.
So what's the most common mistake you hear when people shop in English?
Definitely the way they ask for prices. A lot of people say things like, "How much this?" or "How much money this?" People can still understand them, but it sounds awkward and unnatural.
I always say, "How much this?"
Really? So many people use that sentence.
I thought it was correct.
A more natural way would be, "How much is this?" or "How much does this cost?" And if you want to sound more polite, you can say, "Can I ask how much this is?"
That sounds much more natural.
Sometimes people even point at an item and just say, "Price."
I've done that before too.
The staff can still understand, but full sentences make the conversation feel smoother and friendlier.
Besides asking for prices, what other mistakes do you hear very often?
There are actually a lot. And honestly, most of them are very common among English learners. For example, when people want to find something in a store, they often say things like, "Where pan?" or "Where kitchen thing?" People can probably guess what they mean, but it sounds confusing and unnatural.
Honestly, I've said things like that before. Especially when I'm nervous, I try to use as few words as possible.
Exactly. Many people think shorter sentences are easier, but sometimes they actually make communication harder. A more natural way would be, "Where can I find frying pans?" or "I'm looking for kitchen tools."
That sounds much clearer.
Another very common mistake is when people want to ask if something is available. They often say, "You have this."
Oh no. I use that all the time.
It's not completely wrong, but it sounds a little incomplete. A more natural way would be, "Do you have this available?" or "Do you still have this in stock?"
That sounds way more professional.
And when asking about sizes or colors, many people say things like, "Have black," or "Have bigger."
I've definitely said those before too.
A lot of people do. But a more natural way would be, "Do you have this in black?" or "Do you have a bigger size?"
I'm realizing that most mistakes happen because people leave out important words.
Exactly. Many learners translate too quickly in their heads and only keep the important words.
That makes sense.
Another common mistake happens when people want to try on clothes. They often say, "I try this."
I'm guessing that's not natural either.
But a better way would be, "Can I try this on?" The phrase try on is very important when talking about clothes.
I honestly didn't know that.
And when paying, many people say things like, card okay, or I pay card.
That sounds exactly like me.
People still understand, but a more natural sentence would be, can I pay by card?
I think many English learners will see themselves in these examples.
Definitely. These are very common real-life mistakes. But honestly, fixing a few small details can make your English sound much more natural.
Have you ever had any funny or memorable situations while speaking English with customers?
Definitely. One time a customer asked me, do you have this in another size? And I completely froze for a few seconds because I couldn't understand fast enough.
I think not understanding quickly is one of the most stressful feelings.
Exactly. But later I realized the problem wasn't that English was too difficult. I just wasn't used to real conversations yet.
I've felt that too. Sometimes I know the answer, but my brain reacts too slowly.
Exactly. And many people speak very quietly because they're afraid of making mistakes.
That's literally me.
But honestly, in real-life communication, the most important thing is whether people can understand you.
So you don't need perfect English?
Exactly. You just need to speak clearly and feel a little more confident.
If you had to choose the most useful English sentences for shopping, what would they be?
I think these are the most important ones. How much is this? To ask for prices. I'm looking for, when searching for something. Do you have this in another color or size? When asking for a different color or size. Can I pay by card? When asking about card payment. Can I get a bag? When you need a shopping bag. Could you help me find this? When asking staff for help. Where's the checkout? When asking where to pay. Can I return this if there's a problem? When asking about returns. Honestly, those sentences are simple, but they seem extremely useful. Exactly. In real life, simple English is usually the most useful English.
I think many people, including me, spend too much time learning difficult vocabulary but don't know these basic sentences.
That's true. Real communication is more important than trying to use complicated words.
Today I realize there are so many unnatural sentences I used while shopping in English, but I think the most important thing is not being too afraid of making mistakes.
Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes while learning a language. The important thing is that after every conversation, you become a little more confident and improve little by little.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience today.
Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed being here.
And thank you everyone for listening. See you in the next episode.